I would like to welcome you all on behalf of Faculty of Graduate Studies. We welcome you here at this orientation meeting for Program Director, and hopefully we will get to know the rules and regulations implemented by Graduate Studies. We will focus on student affairs related to process of approval, admission and registration for all programs. Here I will leave now the stage for Delala Sultan to give us a brief about the regulation that she needs to, that we all need to know about how to register and apply for our faculty. Sorry, Delala. Thank you.
Hello everyone. We would like to explain to you briefly about the admission requirement form. There have been some slight modification with the form that has been sent to the department and the new ones. Total capacity. Firstly, the total capacity for the program should be stated. When a program opens admissions for the non-degree, priority of admission is given to the degree applicant. If there is any remaining capacity, the non-degree applicants would be considered. The GPA and the major GPA have to be specified for the non-degree program. The time status for the program should be chosen, either full-time or full-time and part-time. Choosing full-time only does not necessarily mean the program requires a leave from work. Therefore, any program requires a leave from work, full-time commitment. The yes box should be checked. The language requirement must be filled with the desired result. For each test, any will be left blank. It will be considered as not required. For any more information on the equivalence of English test results, you could view these websites. If the program requires any additional tests such as the GMAT and the GRE, the result as well should be stated. In this part of the admission requirement form, specify in detail the majors that are allowed to apply to the program. The graduate of the public authority for applied education, any program that wishes to accept these applicants, the yes box must be checked, and mentioning the majors that are allowed to apply. If the program does not accept these applicants, the no box must be checked. There is a section for the additional conditions, for example, experience, research, and so on. These conditions should be clearly stated and must be approved by the College of Graduate Studies. A model for evaluating applicants should be chosen, either Model 1, 2, 3, 4, or other model. Model 1, the applicant is evaluated on the academic record only. Model 2, the applicant is evaluated on the academic record and the interview. The interview does not count or serve as a test. In that case, program which chooses this model cannot reject applicant for the lack of educational background. Model 3, the applicant is evaluated on academic record and admission test. The minimum acceptable test result must be predetermined, as any applicant who receives a lower score will be excluded. If the minimum result field is left blank in the form, all applicants will be considered for the admission and ranked according to their final score determined by this model. Model 4, the applicant is evaluated on academic record, the interview, and the admission test. Other models, the evaluation method should be attached to the form and explained in detail. All other evaluation methods must have prior approval from the College of Graduate Studies. All fields of the application requirement form must be filled and approved by the program committee. A copy of the minutes of meeting must be enclosed. Thank you for listening, and for any other further inquiry, you could always communicate with the College of Graduate Study.
Yes, yes.
For the Department of Planning and Academic Programs, there are different tasks and procedures for the responsibility of programs. One of them is basically evaluation of the new graduate program proposals. Also, conducting periodic evaluation for existing graduate programs. Typically, this is done every 5 years. Also, hosting academic advisors, program evaluators, lecturers for the graduate programs. Also, inviting external examiners, and this is specifically for PhD dissertation. Also, regarding the program curriculum, sometimes the program requests to make modifications. Also, the department handles this issue, as well as also updating the supervision and teaching. Currently, the department offers different kinds of forms already implemented. Basically, most of them related to proposal for the graduate program, also making self-evaluation for the periodic evaluation, and also we have hosting forms. This form typically is used, the hosting form, in cooperation with the division at the upper administration. Also, we are planning to launch new forms related to basically enhancing the curriculum by basically filling course description forms. Also, another form for amendment or a drop course. Also, in case of asking for equivalency between different courses, then there will be another form that can be filled. As stated here, we need, in this case, approval by the program committee as well as the area committee. Other matters also handled by Department of Academic Programs is supervision and teaching. Based on the College of Graduate Studies bylaws, Article 8, basically it states clearly here that automatically professors and associate professors are allowed to supervise and teach. In case of basically assistant professor that basically would like to join the supervision, then in this case there are certain requirements. One of them basically having teaching experience of at least 3 years. Also having at least 3 scientific publications, referred peer-reviewed journals. In case of only they need to teach in the program, in this case, the only difference is basically reducing the number of scientific paper into 2.
And by the way, these are not sufficient conditions. These are necessary conditions, but not sufficient. Yes, but just to highlight it now.
Other issue also is the cross-supervision. This article has been lately modified in 2016 to include different categories for the cross-supervision. Of course, as we said, professors and associate professors are automatically can be enrolled in cross-supervision. For the assistant professor, also just required basically nomination from the program director regarding the course supervision for an assistant professor. The other categories here basically being added recently talks about also possibility to have retired faculty members to do course supervision. There is two conditions. The first one either being assistant professor or a professor at the time of retirement, and the other one is basically to co-supervise one thesis student at a time. The other category here also talks about visiting professors. They are allowed to co-supervise, and they are basically allowed to co-supervise two students at the same time. For non-Kuwaiti or non-Kuwait university faculty member, there are additional requirements as stated here. One of them is to hold a PhD from an accredited university. The other one is to only co-supervise one student at a time, and the other one basically similar to the conditions required for assistant professor.
Cross-faculty co-supervision, which one is from College of Science and Engineering? And the degree is granted by the College of Engineering. How many?
Can we just?
I think we can answer some of these questions later during the discussion. The other department that also deals with students' research, Department of Students' Research Fellow, mostly they are handling research courses, dissertation, thesis, master thesis, projects either for master degree or higher diploma. These are the typical numbers for the research courses for each category. Here I just summarize the AC forms typically used for each degree. You can see there is similarity between the PhD dissertation forms and the master thesis forms. The first three basically handle forming the thesis committee, approving the research proposal and budget. From AC4 until AC7, it's handled basically research evaluation process and thesis exam as well. Once the students basically get to the point where the exam or the thesis has been basically approved, then he can go to the final step, submit AC8, AC9, and AC7 toward basically mostly related to final thesis copy, distribution of these copies, submitting custody items, and finally providing basically some allowance for the students. It's about 150 KD for each students in either thesis or dissertation category. For the project case, either higher diploma or master project, these are the available forms: AC1, AC2, and AC3. In many cases, maybe some of the students don't require a budget, so the only form that has to be submitted is AC1. If the student has to apply for a budget, then in this case, AC2 also has to be filled. Other forms also used by Department of Students Research Fellow is handling the fund. Okay. Once we approve the AC2, in this case, at later stage, the supervisor has to fill basically AC1FF, requesting the amount that has been approved for his student research. After that, he has to do the settlement for the budget, filling AC2. And later, in some cases, if there's a change in the supervision committee, AC3 can be also filled. Here are some of the legislation requirements for research courses. You can see there are different requirements based on each category. In the case of dissertation, then the student has to pass almost all the courses period to register for course 697. Also, student has to have at least a GPA of 3 points as a minimum, and also student has to pass the qualifying exam. In case of master, basically thesis strike, the conditions here are requirement a little bit different. We have the student to pass 12 credits with a GPA of minimum of 2.67. In case of a project course, we have it's not really a requirement more than a guidelines regarding the registration for the project course. One of them is basically to pass almost all the coursework. Also, the GPA has to be 3 out of 4, and also to pass the comprehensive exam. And this is basically only for the non-thesis option regarding earning the master's degree. Other issues also handled by the department is funding the research. As we said, in some cases, if the students or the supervisor decide to request a budget using AC2, in this case, they can, basically the amount can be approved, but we can see that the amount itself depends on the category. In the case of the PhD dissertation, it can go up to 3,000 KD. For master thesis, most of the programs can get up to 1,000 KD, except for some degrees such as in medical sciences and also in molecular biology. They are allowed to have 2,000 KD. Also, in the case of a project, either master degree or higher diploma, they are allowed to have maximum of 750 KD. Also, the supervisor, if he thinks that they need extra budget, in this case, we advise them to basically fill graduate student application or proposal form available at the research sector. Also, the last point I would like to talk about is the allowance. As we said, at the graduation stage, it is basically there is allowance of 150 KD for basically the master thesis track and also for the PhD dissertation. I'll leave the room for Dr. Sujay to continue.
The administration addition to the College of Graduate Studies, and although we are a new administration, if you are a recurring program director, you've already had probably a lot of interaction with us. One of your first experiences was the annual report. So we were responsible for disseminating the annual report to all the program directors and making it available on the website. This year, or the last academic year, we decided to unify the template in which you submit the annual report. So this is an activity that's required of every program director every year. And last year, there was a unified template, and we gave you the justifications for that unification. So we hope to, first of all, validate the information that we received from you with the information that we have in the college. We also want to make sure that there's a consistency in the flow of information so that we can compare the progress of the program with itself over time and programs with each other. So if we have the same information and the same data coming in, that makes that easier.
Another reason is that we wanted to also make sure that the programs, which are basically the field of operations of the college, the activities of the program are aligned with the strategic directives of the university as a whole. So the report consisted of 12 information items. 8 of them were mandatory and 4 of them were optional. The 8 mandatory items were very simple and easily, probably something that you already had written in the previous annual reports that you submitted. The first item was committee approval for the report itself. So we wanted to make sure that the committee, the program committee in the program had approved the annual report and were very aware of the information that was in it. We requested the program to give the strategic perspective if it existed, and if not, to say so. We also required some information on student tracking. One of the things that we asked was a list of the enrolled students in your program. And this was actually a funny request because most program directors usually request that from us anyway. But what we don't have is information on attritions. Program directors are in immediate and first-hand contact with the students, and they know firsthand the reasons behind a student disappearing or dropping out of the program. And we would like that information to come back to us. We also wanted information on excellence grant students. So some programs have students in their programs with excellence grants, and we need to be aware of the activities that those students, what they produce, what they do, what classifies them as excellent. So their excellence also should reflect in their activities. We asked for a list of participating faculty, and this is actually quite important. So the faculty members that qualify for supervision and are actively supervising, we would like to be aware of. And we asked for alumni tracking. And this one is actually quite important because we in the college really don't track alumni. But again, as I stated earlier, because program directors are a daily contact almost with the students, and the students are all, they're studying, and you can easily collect that information. Now the purpose behind this is that so in the future we can form some sort of network where the programs and the college can interact and connect with these alumni and get their feedback. This is also very important for Kuwait University's ranking. So in order for the ranking of the university to rise as a whole, we need this information. Dr. Khalid already spoke to you about the curriculum information. One of the things that we required was a detailed course curriculum for the courses offered during the academic year. So those forms should become available to you soon, and it would be nice if you could give a detailed syllabus for those courses. We asked for the dates and names of students who took the comprehensive or qualifying exams and the program committee minutes. So those were the mandatory items. There were 4 optional items, and these 4 optional items related to the program's involvement in innovation, sustainability, quality, and other activities that reflected the program's excellence. Now these 4 items are very important because they are closely related to the strategic directives of the university. So we wanted to know what activities the program undertook involved innovation in terms of, are there any student publications? Are there any citations from student works? Are there any patrons, awards, prizes that the students participated in and won? In terms of sustainability, we're looking for 2 things. How can the program sustain itself in terms of retaining competitive applicants, okay? And how can the program sustain itself in terms of managing to find faculty members to participate in the program? For quality, we want to know if there is any plan for an accreditation and how quality and excellence is maintained as a whole. We also asked for a list of other program activities in terms of participation in events, workshops that you have for students, and the things of that like. So now all 12 of these items will be requested of you for this year's annual report. So it's good that you see that these items are requested of you so that you can have like a gentle roadmap to guide you in terms of the activities that you should have during the year. And the date of that submission will be January 31st, 2020. Okay, so a lot of the work that we do in development and planning and development is try to develop the services and ease the operations in the college. We don't do this by ourselves, but we do have a lot of help from other people, and this is the latest offering. So,
right now there are, the information that you need as program directors comes from 3 different places.
Some of it you get from the Oracle SIS system,
The student information system.
some of it you get from the faculty portal, and you used that for admissions last year.
And some of it you get from the you need from the student registration system.
So what we've done is we've managed to combine all of these in one place so that you can
Easily access the information, and you can avoid the very, very difficult and
troublesome student information system. So what I've done now is I've gone to the faculty portal and I've logged into my account.
and
If you see here, you have your standard faculty.
It doesn't show.
it doesn't show. When you
I'll log in from here then.
If you'd like to log into your faculty portal, you can access the system with me. You can see this now. You have this is the faculty portal, and this is where you submit your grades normally for the undergraduate courses and the undergraduate courses. And you have here, if you use the system for admissions last year, you would have seen admissions. Now it says graduate programs.
And if you log into the graduate programs, you'll see this. You just click on it. Okay, I'll go to the English section. And here now you have a section for admissions. This isn't active, but this is where you will evaluate your applicants as soon as the applications become available. So at present, this is not active. Then here you have your student information system, and you have a list of reports that you can request that you might need for your program. The first one is the enrolled students list. So you go to the menu and you select the term that you want. The terms that are here are the terms of admission. So if you go to fall, in spring we have no admission, so you have to go to the fall terms. If you select fall semester 2019-2020, it will give you the list of all new admissions in that term. So newly enrolled students in that term. If you go to fall semester 2018-2019, it'll give you all the new admissions in that term. If you go to all terms, it'll give you the list of all enrolled students in your program. So I'm going to select that now. I'm from the stats department, so we only have a master's. And you can see the list of all students. The information that is given to you is the type of admission. So the first student here has provisional admission. It gives you the GPA, the study load status if it's full-time and part-time. Now, it's written in Arabic, but we're working on it. And then it gives you the name of the supervisor, the name of the co-supervisor, the number of total credits earned, and here the number of terms remaining. And this includes the extension period. So you see how many terms the student has left. So this is a newly admitted student. Her admission term was fall semester 2019. She still does not have a GPA. She's part-time. I have her contact information, both her email and her phone number. She has no supervisors and no credits, but the remaining terms that she has, not including this term, are 9. You have the option here of downloading this to Excel. So if you click the download to Excel file, it'll give you all this information in an Excel sheet. You can also go and get the list of graduates by names and by term per program, the list of students with graded. So this is kind of the conditional courses. These should all work. You should also get the list of students and their supervisors. So these are for students that are already registered in the thesis. This link will take you to the graduate student registration system. I'm not going to click on that now. And here you have course information. We will be adding to this as the year progresses. This is just one of the many things that we're working on. Some you will see directly, some you will feel, but indirectly. So here you have a list of course offerings. And again, I'm sorry to say this, but there's really no skipping this point. This takes you to the Oracle interface. And in the Oracle interface, all you have to do is just select the fall term, the term that you want. So this is the fall semester, and you press the submit button. Okay, and it gives you, this is the course schedule. So these are the courses that are offered this semester. And you can just press the back button twice. It'll take you back to the main menu. And here you'll get your class rosters. So you don't have to, unfortunately, you don't enter anything here. All you select is the term, and then press the submit button. So I'm going to request the fall term again, press submit, and it takes a little bit to load, and then you get the class lists. We called you Dictora to test the system yesterday.
Nora, I was, fiddling with it.
Oh, good, okay. Again, all of these, unfortunately, you will have to go through the Oracle interface to get to. So this is the list of non-degree students. You select the fall semester term, and then press the submit button, and then you'll get your list of students. The one in the middle here is the graduate student registration system, and this is the system that you normally access to do the registration by force. And what you also have here, I don't have a student number with me, but if you log in and you enter a student name in the first field that comes up, you can actually get the student's course schedule. So you can get information by student using the system, in addition to the registration by force when it's open. So this is what we have for you now. I don't know if the
By force is not enabled.
no, right now it's not enabled, but you still can access information per student using the system.
I already did that, but you just put your number in the
Yes, yes. Okay, so my slides are not here anymore, but I was going to write my email, and for all of these things, we have our partners. We work very closely with the people in KUCIS. We work very closely with faculty members that volunteer to develop these systems for us. And they work really